Hello everyone. Bonjour tout le monde.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you so much everyone for being here. Bienvenue à tout le monde. Thank you especially for our participants and partners online joining us and everyone in person. Thank you so much for our fourth annual event and coming. My name is Anina Nagunjin. I'm a program manager at Accelerator and I have the mostly honor, to be your master of ceremony today. We're going to get started. As I said, this is our fourth annual event after almost 5-6 years of Accelerator existing, so we believe in bringing people together. So thank you for the fourth time that you're joining us, or the first time, so thank you so much for coming here. We have ahead of you curated a great program, if I can humbly say so myself. But just to start, why are we here? As scientists urge countries to prepare for a catastrophic 3 degrees heating, hundreds of millions already face threats to their livelihoods and their habitats. And we see it, I think you see it in your work today, you see it as well in the State of the Global Climate that came out just yesterday, and we'll hear about that more today. Our annual event gathers key actors that are witnesses to these effects, that are providing essential services to populations. And this year in particular, we bring you here together to discuss a specific context that we find ourselves in, to step up and to scale up. That is the name of our event. You responded to the call because you believe in stepping up. We want to talk about how to reinforce commitments, how to fill the gap amid this growing and worrying political uncertainty. And building on Geneva's role as an international hub, we just want to explore pragmatic dialogue, investment on collective levers, and how the key sectors that are gathered here today, what we call high-trust social sectors, can adapt to the climate emergency, can do their part to reduce emissions, and influence others across societies and have an impact beyond just ourselves. So today we'll showcase examples from local international organizations proving that climate science and climate action that is aligned with science is both feasible and affordable. That is something that we believe is important to remind today, that it is feasible and that it can be affordable. So we'll identify ways together to contribute to this crucial, universal challenge that we're facing today, leveraging on each other's strengths and diversity. So that's just a reminder of why you're here today. Thank you so much for being here. We'll look quickly at an overview of the program we've prepared for you, which I think will show up on the screen. We're going to have opening remarks from Riedmatten from the Canton. Thank you so much, and a call of action with our keynote speaker, Roberta Boscolo. We'll have then a part where we look at the lessons from the Accelerator and its partners, giving a spotlight not only on the work we do, but the important and inspiring work that our partners are doing in the different sectors that they occupy. We'll then have a few panels for the day. The first one will look at remobilization, looking at actors in Geneva and across the world and what that means. We'll have a self-catered lunch break that we can, around Geneva, there will be a few options around the neighborhood especially. Then after lunch, we'll have lightning talks. So please come back after lunch. That'll be really inspiring climate-smart action in practice from different actors we'll have. And then go on a second coffee break with our second panel of the day after that, looking specifically at health actors, healthcare, health systems, and how they're contributing to climate action. We'll then have concluding remarks from Barbara Hinterman, Director General of Terre des Hommes Foundation, and a few last acknowledgements from our president, Dr. Karim Laobja-Sialmia. So thank you so much. That is the program of the day. Just going to remind a few housekeeping rules, if they also go on the screen. There's interpretation in case anyone needs that, both in English and French, online and in person. There's going to be a QR code later to scan, but firstly, no foods and drinks in the auditorium, no food and drinks. And then on if we can have the slide on interpretation quickly in case anyone needs it, you can scan the QR code and then be able to download the app and have it in your own headsets and your own phone if you need interpretation. Then lastly, just a few words on sustainability. We organize our events using our own sustainable toolkit, and that allows us to really look at the things we purchase to travel around our event, and the same thing with the foods and the cocktails detail later. We're going to have really all take into account these things, and there's a toolkit as well if you need to scan it. We can also share it after the event. That's it for just the beginning few words. I'm going to take just a few minutes to introduce Anne de Riedmatten. To begin the day, it's really my pleasure to welcome you, Deputy Director General for International Affairs for the Canton of Geneva. Anne de Riedmatten began her career at the headquarters of Médecins Sans Frontières Switzerland. After 4 years in the organization, she joined the ICRC. Her field delegate career took her across the world, and then upon returning to Geneva, she joined the Swiss Federal Department of Foreign Affairs, and she really specialized in multilateral issues and humanitarian diplomacy, joining the Canton of Geneva in 2023, taking on the role of Director of International Solidarity Service, and just last December, she was appointed Deputy Director of the Directorate of International Affairs. And please, you can take the floor for opening remarks. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear Bruno, it's a pleasure to address you today at the opening of the 4th edition of the Acceleration Days. I'd like to warmly thank the Climate Action Accelerator for giving the Canton of Geneva the opportunity to say a few words this morning. First of all, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. This day promises to be particularly rich, both in terms of the quality of its content and the valuable exchanges it will foster. This year's theme, Heading Towards 3 Degrees, How Do We Step Up Together?, places collaboration at its core, an approach to which the Canton of Geneva is deeply committed and which remains essential if we want to move forward collectively in the faces of the climate challenges ahead. I am pleased to see many of the Canton's partners present today, whether among the participants or within the various thematic sessions. As Roberta Boscolo from WMO will no doubt explain us in her keynote, the climate situation continues to deteriorate at an alarming pace. It is no longer a hypothesis or a matter of debate, but a tangible reality. Severe droughts, water shortages and floodings, rising sea levels, devastating wildfires, and disruption to natural ecosystems are just a few examples of the many direct impacts of the climate emergency. These upheavals disproportionately affect the most vulnerable populations, directly impacting their health, safety, and homes. They highlight a profound injustice. All too often, those who contribute the least to greenhouse gas emissions are the ones who suffer the most severe consequences. Today, the effects of climate change are being felt across all societies, albeit unevenly, revealing and exacerbating existing vulnerabilities. We are facing a global shared challenge, one that will intensify dangerously over the coming decades if we do not act decisively and collectively. The collapse of the Birch Glacier, which destroyed the village of Blatten in Valais last year, tragically reminded us of this reality. It illustrates, in concrete terms, how melting ice is already destabilizing our territories, including here in Switzerland. This is not an isolated phenomenon. It is part of a broader platform of environmental degradation, at a time when nearly all planetary boundaries, from biodiversity to water resources, have already been exceeded. In the face of this alarming situation, we are witnessing a worrying disengagement from environmental issues at a political level. For years, the scientific community has been calling us to act. At a time when scientific voices are being undermined and facts are being contested, it is our responsibility to uphold them with strength. In an environment increasingly marked by misinformation, science must remain our common compass. The time for observation has passed. The time for action is now. We must accelerate the pace of deployment of low-carbon, sustainable practices while strengthening the protection of the ecosystems that support both life and livelihoods. The scale of the challenge calls for a strong, collective, and coordinated response, grounded in the clear warnings of science. It is up to us today to shift into a higher gear, to scale up our efforts and bring together all key stakeholders in Geneva and around the world. In this regard, Geneva has a unique strength. As a host city to numerous international organizations, permanent missions, NGOs, and businesses, it embodies a dynamic ecosystem rich in expertise and innovation, with strong connections to actors and communities around the world. With its long-standing diplomatic tradition, it offers a neutral platform for dialogue. Thanks to this unique ecosystem, it can, and must, remain a central hub for developing concrete and ambitious solutions at the intersection of knowledge, policy, and action. For more than 20 years, the Canton of Geneva has been committed to international solidarity, supporting initiatives that address climate change through both prevention and adaptation, while promoting the preservation of a healthy environment. Through its financial support, notably to the Climate Action Accelerator, the Canton of Geneva is directly helping to tackle the impacts of climate change and to disseminate solutions for a more sustainable future. It also supports humanitarian actors, assisting victims of natural disasters, often linked to those disruptions and too rarely visible in the media. Together, we must find effective ways to respond to the needs of populations while respecting planetary boundaries. The discussions today taking place are fully aligned with this commitment. I am convinced they will demonstrate the crucial role of dialogue, solidarity, collective action, and investment in addressing the pressing challenges posed by climate change. I invite each one of you to continue this work together, fully mobilizing Geneva's unique strength in service of this global challenge. I wish you all an excellent day, rich in exchanges, discoveries, and collaboration that lead to concrete progress. Thank you for your attention.